Like, I've been reading fantasy fiction for a long ass time. Like, I'm at that point, right? I'm Gen X. Like, I'm always very clear about that. Like, what generation I rep. So you guys know basically when I was born, like all that stuff, right? It's all right there. I don't hide any of it, right? Because I think it's important. It gives you some perspective on where I'm coming from, like what I've read. Like, I've spent a lot of hours reading comic books and stuff like that, right? Since my childhood, which is all good. I definitely appreciate it and I definitely enjoy it. So this brings me to Westeros, right? This whole series, Game of Thrones. And I'm gonna be really honest. I consider myself pretty efficient in Game of Thrones knowledge because not only have I watched the entire series, I've done all the books, right? I've done every single, well, I think I've done all the books, man. I've done the majority. I'd be surprised, like I wouldn't be surprised if there was like two books maybe I hadn't done. But I've probably done like whatever, 8 books in the whole series. So I consider myself pretty down. I put a lot of thought into Game of Thrones. But this brings me back to my first interaction with Game of Thrones, right? This is some important stuff here. I'm gonna produce some images for you guys here. This book came out, this book was out when I was a kid, and I had the opportunity to read it. And in fact, I remember picking up I remember picking this book up, right? I literally remember picking this book up, the first one, The Song of Fire and Ice, and it was so like I thought it was so off the hook that I immediately put it down. And I'll tell you what got to me, and I didn't realize it was going to be significant at that time, right? But time always has a way of changing your opinions and stuff. So when I read it, like as soon as I got to the part with Cersei and Jamie, like I immediately was like, I don't want to do this, right? Like I don't want to read this. It was just a whole different kind of theme from what I was actually on at that time, and I couldn't mess with it, man. Like it was too advanced for me. Again, I'm like maybe 13 or 14 at this time. Like I'm not an adult, so this is already. And Game of Thrones was a little more like political intrigue and like understanding the houses. I don't know if I could at that age if I could have gave it the type of attention that it really needed. So like, and this is an interesting thing because I like back in my day, man. Back in the day, like getting to the bookstore, man, that wasn't just like an everyday thing. Like it might be several weekends or like maybe once a month where I got to go to a good bookstore, right? Like really, where I would get good stuff. The library didn't have anything, man. Like I ran through the library as a kid, right? So I had to make wise decisions about my books. It was always very important to me. So quickly, man, like my next trip to the bookstore, what's up, Stack the Rabbit? Like, so my next trip to the bookstore, man, I'm like, yeah, I can't mess with this. I got to dip up out of this series. And I end up latching on to this series, right? Dragonlance, which was kind of no joke in terms of like a myth story. It's very much what yeah, what's up, yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, man. So this series, like I get into this series and it's immediately like mad D&D. Like I'm loving it, right? Oh yeah, what's up, Doomy? Okay, there you go. Don't be a cunt. That's funny. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be a cunt. Everyone remember that. Okay. So I turn to Dragonlance and like Dragonlance is very much D&D. Like it's far more pure D&D in a lot of ways. It's like the heart of it, right? Like whereas Game of Thrones really isn't. It really doesn't mix all the elements of D&D. It just has dragons in there, right? But this is more like pure D&D. And I went on this route, and this was a long series as well. And I mean, I would go on to read this series probably for like 8 more years, man. I want to say it was at least like 8 years that I was deeply embedded in this series. So this is why like the themes matter. Like at that time, at 14, 15, I was already like, yeah, I'm not really trying to read about incest in Westeros, right? I'm really not trying to do that, right? So I had to dip out of it. So that's just kind of like what would shape my fantasy knowledge would be more dragon, dragons and lands, Dungeons and Dragons would be a whole lot more like my dragon like makeup, right? Like coming out of it. So this was important. The incest in Westeros was prevalent right off the bat, right? And I was already like, yeah, I got to dip out, right? So when it came back, I was like, yeah, man, I kind of remember the series. I remember hearing about it, and I already knew it was gonna be off the hook, right? So lo and behold, right, like right up in like the first episode, right? It's kind of like the first episode, right, where they catch Jamie and Cersei like going at it, right? So right off the back, it's right to it. But that would not be it, right? That would not be it. The theme of incest in Westeros, man, Westeros is clearly noted, man. Like they're getting to the point. Like, look, it's normalized, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like, if I look at House of Dragons right now, right, like it's a lot of incest on both sides of this situation, man. Like, I'm being real. Like, look, this is the Reds and the Greens, right? It's the Reds versus the Greens. It's no other teams in there, right? Okay, so on the Reds and the Greens, on the Reds, I got Rhaenyra and Damon. That's an uncle and a niece, right? Right. And on the other side, I got brothers and sisters, right? With I think like at least Helena and Aegon, right? They're brother and sister, but I think didn't her pops marry a sister? Seemed like somebody else married sister. It's a lot of that in Targaryens, right? We're just getting it. We're just getting after it. It's a lot of that in those Targaryens, man. Hey, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna talk Craster too. I got somebody people on YouTube. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about Craster. He's not getting out of this in any kind of way, shape, or form. We will cast that light on Craster because his is even more insane. So these are the top like the top like incest relationships we're looking at on Game of Thrones. Like, right, we got brother, sister. This one's crazy because it's twins, right? Jamie and Jamie and Cersei, man, that was even deeper because like you guys were mirrors of each other, like literally, genetically, like everything, right? And so when did this start? Like, did it start in the womb? Right? I'm sure there's some level of familiarity with these two. Like, it's off the hook though, right? It's definitely off the hook, right? And they had 3 kids, right? And you notice nature didn't allow any of their 3 kids to live, right? Tom, Jeffrey, Marcella, or Tommen, right? So their relationship was so controversial that it kind of helped trigger, the War of the Five Kings. This is where it comes from. It is even treated as a scandal within this in this time. Like, it's too goddamn prevalent. Like at this point, this is like if you look at it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Okay, I'm telling you guys. I've tried to step away from the story and really look at it from different angles. And if you look at it from like Jamie's side of the story, this is like the ultimate love story. It's the most tragic love story at all time. The only thing he ever loved was Cersei, and he loved her from like birth. He does not remember a time where he didn't love her. That's it for him, right? It's really, really crazy, like crossing that line. But like it's at the heart of it, man. It's at the heart of it. It gets the ball rolling, it pops it off. It is shocking. You can imagine me, 13-year-old, 14-year-old me. I read this and I'm like, wait a minute, like what? I'm definitely not ready for this, man. I'm ready for draconians and more like spells, and you gotta have some you doing quests, right? Like everyone, give me a paladin, a healer, right? A dwarf, right? An elf, a kender, something like that, right? Mix it up, give me a healer, like give me what I need, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Okay, it gets deeper with the Valerians, right? Like absolutely. And then, but we see how it carries over, right? So we go Damon and Rhaenyra. This is also like uncle and niece, right? This is uncle and niece, and like we see this like this is going on way before they get married. He starts with her immediately, right? Once Rhaenyra is at that point where we start realizing that she's pretty, like Damon immediately starts treating her like, yeah, that's my girl right there. Like I'm doing everything right. I'm all in your noodle. I'm making sure I'm rooted in your first sexual experiences, which is off the hook, by the way, like off the hook. And like he always brought her back gifts like that. He was grooming her from day one. Like when he saw her, he's like, yeah, every time I come back, I'm bringing you something you look forward to now. You get excited. Like I already know I'm nice with the sword. So this was long term. This was long term. And then they end up getting married. And I don't know how they keep having babies with each other. Like I know they haven't had any babies. It doesn't seem like they will have any kids, but they need to have one now, right? Like now that everybody's dead, but that's it here. And then the more recent one here is Aegon the second and Helena, right? These are brother and sister, directly brother and sister, and they got married according to Targaryen like custom. Like that was it. I don't know how, like it was just expected that they would be married. So I don't know. I don't understand, right? I don't understand how it goes about. I don't understand how it goes about. But this is how like they're keeping the dynasty. It's not anything about love in any way. This is just what had to happen. So this is kind of like what it is, right? And then you get Jon Snow and Daenerys, and I'm like, man, somebody do a background check every now and then, right? Because this was another nephew and aunt pairing, and they don't know their family, but I like to feel like there's a mechanism inside of me that would stop me from being attracted to someone that has my own genetics. Like we're more than just our eyes, right? Like we're more than just our eyes. But then like you said, the most disturbing one of all of them to me is Craster. Like Craster, and this is the father, and he's like, I'm when I have a daughter, yep, that's good. Let's just keep on having daughters, just me and a bunch of daughters. And I'm just like, saying all of them all the time, like every one of them, like with no regard. It's like we're keeping this process going. There's nothing worse. Like as far as genetic, man, it is tight, man. Nothing else is getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Like Craster's just like, yeah, I'm just doing this, man. I'm just doing this. And like even within that world, like it's frowned upon, but yet it's still all tolerant. And you see, like, man, for Aegon, like the difference is like Jamie and Cersei, by the time he got to Jamie and Cersei, it's scandalous to do that. Whereas for Aegon and Helena, it was considered normal. Like you could see they do it, and it's not even like a squabble about it. And this is the thing, like no matter what, you rooting for a incest rulership, man. That's the crazy thing about it. Like the crazy thing about all this is that no matter who you rooting for, you're rooting for incest. And on some micro level, man, you're accepting it a little bit, right? Like let's just be real. Not a conscious I'm accepting it, but on some micro level, I'm looking at it and saying the team I'm rooting for is Team Incest everywhere, man. Like, where is it not team incest? Like, because I was rooting for Jon and Daenerys. That's the incest relationship that this sicko wrote into the story. He gives us no choice. Like, sure, he makes Crassus a super villain, right? He makes Crassus a super villain, but if you left it at Crassus, I could say something about that. If you left it at Jaime and Cersei, where it's the villains, right? But man, we be rooting for these people, like who, no matter what team you on in House of the Dragon right now, you rooting for incest side, man. Why are those our only choices? Why are these our only choices? I don't have a choice but to root for Team Incest, right? Like they're both playing for team. I know it's different colors, but they're both on the side of, yeah, we're gonna give you an incest royalty, right? Like that's how accepted it is. That's how deep it is. Like every single one of these relationships is, yeah, you're right. Cersei was just like fucking people in the family. I guess if you'll do your brother, a cousin does seem like, distant enough, right? But yeah, she was doing Lancel too. Like that. It was going down like that. It was just like that's what was going on. That's what was going on. And maybe it progressed. Like I said, by the time it got to Cersei and Jaime, it was like, this wasn't good anymore. If they had been born a couple of 100 years prior, right around the time of Aegon and Helena, they would have been able to do that with no restraint, man. It would have been no pushback on like having this relationship out in the open and even having kids. So like that might be the real tragedy of Jaime and Cersei. Like, look, at a different time, you guys could have just done it, right? And nobody would have been upset about it, right? I mean, just overall, you still could have ascended and had a throneship, right? accept it, right? So that's it. But yeah, they were heavy on that stuff, man. They were heavy on that, and I like when the other families are kind of like, okay, you're from I don't know, you're from the Vale or something, like you're gonna marry somebody from the Riverlands. Like, I know they're doing it for political connections like that, but at least you mixing this you mixing all these genes up. We're not just keeping the pool closed, right? Like we're adding some other stuff. And I get it for the Targaryens, like the Targaryens, because this is more than just like, well, it's not. I was gonna say it's more than just controlling power, but it's not. Like it's not. That's the core of what it is, right?